Don't forget to like and subscribe today. And also, in the description box, I will leave links to all the information from this video and much, much more in the description box below, and I'll also post it in the comment section below. So look out for that. So please hit that like button. Let's make this video go viral. Shalom. The easiest way to debunk this fake movement claiming to be us is with Deuteronomy chapter 32 verses 26 through 27. This is because the entire fake movement is rooted in the made-up idea by them that the Israelites would somehow forget that they were Israelites. The problem with this fake claim is that these fake phonies don't read carefully the text they're presenting. This is why they are not the real Hebrews, because they don't even know how to discern the proper text. It reads, I would, not will, I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men, were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord has not done this. You see that? It clearly reads that God would, not will, would make their remembrance to cease from among men, but he didn't. Why? Because it says he feared the wrath of the enemy and the fact that the nations would have taken credit for blotting out God's people from the earth, which would bring dishonor to God's holy name. That's a cut. That's a wrap. That's game over. There's no dancing around this. Deuteronomy chapter 32 verses 26 through 27 is the worst nightmare for the fake black Hebrew Israelites, because it shows that any fake group, any fake movement claiming that the Jews would ever forget who they were are either lying or completely ignorant or both. It clearly says that wouldn't happen and even tells you why it wouldn't happen. There isn't a single passage in the entire Hebrew scriptures that makes the claim that Israel would forget who they were, ever. Not a single passage. But, as I mentioned in many of my videos, I've made many videos debunking them. That's why it's getting boring. I've made and shown that God says over and over that there would always be a righteous remnant, and there always has been. Us, the real Israelites, an unbroken chain of family line going back to Moses at Mount Sinai. They can't provide that proof. We can. Nothing supports them. They even use Jeremiah chapter 17 verses 2 through 4, which says, whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills, O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin, and all thy borders, and thou shalt discontinue from thy heritage. This is what they use. Anyone with half a working brain, which is not what we're dealing with here, can see that the heritage is dealing with the land. They will discontinue from their land, referring to their exile. Hence, it refers to the altars, groves, substance, treasures, high places, and borders. They don't even read it properly. It doesn't say a word about them forgetting they were Jews. Not only that, if it was dealing with their ethnic identity, which it's not, which it clearly isn't, it would contradict Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 26 through 27. Some fake black Hebrew Israelites will even try to use Isaiah chapter 1, this is the hilarious part, verses 2 through 3, to claim the Jews would somehow forget that they were Jews. This just shows how desperate they are to promote this made-up fairy tale, because aside from the fact that it's merely dealing with the Israelites rebelling against God, Isaiah chapter 1, verses 2 through 3 isn't even a prophecy. In other words, it's speaking in the present tense. If you read it carefully, which they don't, it tells you just that. It says Israel does not know, Not Israel will not know, does not know. Obviously, the Israelites knew they were Israelites during Isaiah's time. DNA is another undebunkable proof that the fake black Hebrew Israelites cannot be the original Israelites because the origins of their DNA, E1B1A, points to the African Horn, not the Levant corridor as our DNA, real Israelite DNA, points to. African Horn is their origins. Now the Ethiopian Jews, who we are all close to, as well as the Lemba African Jews, they as well are very close to us. They themselves prove their lineage is through conversion. They don't even claim to be the original Jews, original Israelites. They say they are of their father Cush. Both of them proudly say of our father Cush. Yet African Americans here in the United States claim, no, we are the Israelites. Again, their DNA proves otherwise. Some of the fake black Hebrew Israelites grant that E1B1B is a Hamitic Cushite haplogroup. They have no choice because, like I said, since Ethiopians are E1B1B, and we know biblically that they are Cushites, what they don't realize is that admitting E1B1B is a Hamitic Cushite haplogroup, they are unknowingly admitting that E1B1A is also a Hamitic haplogroup, Cushite origins as well. Why? This is because E1B1A and E1B1B are sibling haplogroups, hence the A and the B at the end. That is, they branched off from the same parent haplogroup, which is E1B1. You get it? Another problem for the fake black Hebrew Israelites is that we now have Canaanite DNA. Did you know that? Oh, of course not, because they don't research this stuff. DNA evidence shows that modern Lebanese people share 90% of their DNA with that of 4,000-year-old Canaanite DNA blood. That means the Canaanites from the time of Abraham would have looked exactly like the modern Lebanese people do. In fact, this also shows that ancient Israelites would have resembled modern Lebanese people as well. Why? Because they would have been living amongst and intermarrying with these Lebanese Canaanites for 2,000 years, from the time of Abraham to the time of Yeshua, 2,000 years ago. We see throughout Scripture that the Israelites were mixing with the Canaanites, and these Canaanites are still here today in modern Lebanon. The fake black Hebrew Israelites point to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, that it proves the Atlantic slave trade out of Africa to America. Wrong again. Fail. You know why? They forgot to read verse 52, which specifically says that all of these things, this destruction, would happen in the land that I promised your forefathers. What land is that? We all know it's Israel, not Africa. So again, fail. They ask, well then when were you guys ever in slave ships to Egypt? And I'll tell you, as I said in many of my videos, in the year 70 AD, this is well documented. The fact that they don't even know this history shows once again that they are the fake black Hebrew Israelite cult on YouTube that are not the real thing, or they would know this. Another fact, not only do we fulfill this in the year 70 AD, we, the Jews, to literal Egypt, also, this was fulfilled, all the curses were fulfilled in biblical times in the exile to Assyria and Babylon. This is well documented in Scripture. Again, they don't study Scripture. They don't know Scripture. So they fail on every single thing that they claim. Next, they try to point to the Ethiopian Jews. I know the Ethiopian Jews. We all know the Ethiopian Jews and the Lemba Jews, and they don't even claim to be the originals. Yet you do. And you are in no way credible like they are. And they don't claim to be the originals. The Samaritan Israelites have never left Israel. They were there when we left Israel, and they saw when we came back. They know who left and who came back. And I'm close to them too. We know each other. So the Samaritan Israelites also debunked your fake phony claims with your fake claim as well about the president of Egypt, which I debunked myself. and I will leave the link to show that the president of Egypt never made this claim. It's fake. Their whole list of claims are fake. Everything they post is fake. So it's no surprise that they would make the bogus claim that the president of Egypt says they left black and they came back white. He said that that was not true. And I have the claim right here. Look in the description box, you'll see. I saved the best part for last. The fake black Hebrew Israelites always say, over and over again, that white on the skin, or leprosy, is a curse. The curse is to have white skin. Really? Well, I saved this for last just for you who's listening. Let's take a look at the Torah in Leviticus chapter 13, verses 13 through 17. Let's see what the Torah says about your fake claim. Another one. Let's go. Verse 13. If the priest sees that a disease has covered the whole body, he shall pronounce the affected person clean. He is clean. For he has turned all white. But as soon as the undiscolored flesh appears in it, he shall be unclean. When the priest sees the undiscolored flesh, he shall pronounce him unclean. The undiscolored flesh is unclean. It is leprosy. But if the undiscolored flesh again turns white, he shall come to the priest, and the priest shall examine him. If the infection has turned white, the priest shall pronounce the affected person clean. He is clean. How do you like them apples? So, there you have it. Need I say more? And I'm going to put a link in the description box to a full presentation I did a while back debunking each and every other claim that they make. So look for that in the description box and the comment section. And don't forget to hit that like button so this can go out and share with other people. Shalom, everyone.